All right, we are live, and I want to thank my guest speakers and everyone who registered. Although July 4th is coming up, we had 200 people register still, and that was a really good thing. So, if you are out there, feel free to tell me where you guys are from. Um, I always like to know where Ed's from, and because I always thought that. When I first met Ed, I thought he made the place up because I never heard of that name before. So tell me about where you're coming from, Ed, and then also maybe the weather over there. And if everyone else can as well, feel free to tell us where you're from.
Kalamazoo, Michigan. And yeah, there is a real Kalamazoo. I forgot to before we started. I was going to add two pillows so that I wasn't sitting so low here compared to you two guys, or get the high chair out, and I forgot to do that. So
Oh
I'm a little
yeah,
bit, I'm a little bit taller. My camera angle is a bit lower, but yes, I'm from residing in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and it's very sunny here. It's extremely hot, not as hot as Nevada, but
no way.
it's both hot and muggy out, but sunny.
Oh, we got Raul from India. We got Julio from Chile. Nice. And Tammy, my favorite salesperson, where you calling from? And tell me a little bit about the weather over there.
Mhm.
Venezuela. Nice.
Yeah, people from all over here today. I'm in Minnesota, and it's raining like crazy here.
I can tell from back.
Yeah, it looks really not raining from back of you. You have an awesome pool, by the way.
Mm.
Well, I'm actually calling from Las Vegas, and so I've moved here from Atlanta. So I was originally from Atlanta, and then they call it Hotlanta, but Hotlanta is not that hot compared to Vegas. So sometimes 5 a.m. it's like 80 degrees over here. Last year it passed 120 degrees. You could fry eggs on the floor, you know. So I'm trying to exercise and doing some walking early in the morning now, you know, since I'm getting a little older. So I'm doing that. So I see we got people, Munish from India. Awesome, awesome. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. We don't want to hold everyone up, and I did want to kind of set the stage on the guest speakers. It is a good old time friend. Is that the wrong way to say it?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah,
I'm
it,
old.
it is. It is a great guy, and Tammy is really awesome because I met her probably less than a year ago, and she's helping with some sales stuff. So I'm a process guy. Ed is an email and solutions guy, and Tammy is a sales. I would say sales leader, salesperson. And so let's start with. And I got a couple slides here, and I'm trying to forward it. Oh, I got to push the wrong button. And Tammy Kriya had some great insights on particular sales. So tell me a little bit about yourself, Tammy.
Yeah, basically, I've been in sales and marketing for over 40 years, and a lot of online, a lot of high ticket closing, and a lot of sales conversations.
Awesome. Well, I'll go ahead and move to Ed. And how long ago did we meet Ed? I want to say it's 3, 4 years ago. I
You,
don't
you
know.
always you always say that, but it was before COVID that we knew one another. So it's probably closer to 6, 7 years than it
Oh
is
my goodness.
3 or 4 year. Time flies.
It does.
It does. I am a sales and marketing guy, and I have been doing that for over 30 years. Started using email about early 2000s, maybe 1998. It was just before actually 9/11. And email became my primary channel for client acquisition because it worked so well. It was back then, email was a fairly novel idea. You could send out 10 emails and I mean cold emails, because there's no such thing as subscription email or opt-in email. It was all cold email back then. We just didn't know that that's what it was. And I could get 100% open rates. I could get like 70% reply rates, and order rates somewhere in the magnitude of 20 to 40%. You can't do that anymore.
Yeah, I think that's a fairy tale.
Yeah, you can't do it. And if I explain the process, you'd say, wow, how did you ever make that work? But it's evolved. Email has evolved over the years. It's become a lot more complex, but it's still a very effective model for client acquisition.
I would actually say it's the main channel regardless. So I'm a LinkedIn guy. I believe in content creation. I believe in creating relationships. I believe in events like this. I believe in having multiple channels. But without the support of email, it all falls apart. And so doing email rights is extremely important. One thing about me, and I got to figure out how to use these controls here, is that I'm actually known as the not so boring LinkedIn guy. We build sales systems and outreach strategies on multiple channels for high ticket offers, and to drive things in a three-tier type of situation where you're allowing people to come along with you in your journey. And so the more people know you, the more people that like you and that they need what you have to solve a problem. Those are the kind of trifecta items to actually bring in some of these clients. I was in the United States Army. You can see this word Swissipino. I used to be the #1 Swissipino game designer in the world before my LinkedIn business. That was actually my pickup line at the bar as well. My mother's from Switzerland and my father's Filipino, so I'm of mixed race here. And I'm a single father, was in the United States Army. I have about 1,000 IT projects underneath my belt. And we had an issue getting clients. So we were doing really well until the world started flattening out. And so we had to use LinkedIn and different LinkedIn channels to kind of build some of those relationships. We're not going to get too much into a lot of different channels. We might talk about components of the online events because that's what we're concentrating on here. And that's one of the most important channels you can have. But there are other channels that will support, all your channels should support each other. So let's go ahead and move on here. I'm always thinking that's a real button. It's not a real button. So the crux of everything that we're talking about are online events and how to manage that online event. And yeah, someone said happy 205th birthday. Thanks. I think I must be missing the joke here. Thanks, Michael. And we have other people coming in as well. We have Michael from Dallas, Chicky from Tampa, Anita from India. So we got a nice crowd there. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. But the only reason people do business with another service or to do something, if you have a high ticket offer, is to actually make money, make an impact in those other your customers' lives, and to grow to a certain point. And so I like to think about how would it feel? Could you imagine just some extra money coming in every single month, whether it be 5, 10, 20, or 30K a month? How would that impact your business? Could you envision that and how it would drive business, make your life a lot easier, and just clear up a lot of things with your business in your mind? Because when you have the bills taken care of, a lot of times that frees up time, which adds a lot of clarity. What if someone could do this for you and then show you how to take it over very easily? Now, we're not going to get into too many complications, of all the details, and we'll show you some of the details. But that's the crux of every kind of presentation. So one thing I would like to talk about and have Tammy kind of enforce that is Tammy, remember we had the event last month, and we
Yep.
did that as a trial just so we can track stuff. And I tend to get between 200 and 1,000 people every single month. This one's 200, and it's 200 for a reason, because July 4th is coming around. It's very low.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But you don't need those many people to convert. I don't know if you remember, how many people did we have interested on the last event?
I'm pretty certain it was 37.
37 people.
30 people that showed interest and actually responded. We got email addresses. They wanted us to reach out, give them information. Honestly, though, I've seen people sell 3 deals and have 10 people on. I mean,
Tell
it's
us
not
about that.
it's not about numbers. It's about the engaged audience and what you're offering. If you're offering something people want, and it's that way with any sales. You can have 2 people on and sell 2 deals if both of them want what you're talking about.
Yeah, and a lot of times, even if they can't get exactly what you want, there are other ways to work with them as well.
Of course, there's
And
always
so,
other ways to work with people.
yeah, and so it's not all or nothing, but it's the possibility of solving a problem, and that's
It's
one of
always
the.
about that.
So we had 37 people interested. So were most of them interested right off the event, or where were most of the people interested that
Now,
replied?
here's the deal is that on an event, people come to get information. People don't come here to be sold. People come here to learn. So if you're going to run an event with the idea of it being a revenue generating tool, that comes back around to email, just what you were talking about before.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't send out emails explaining what things are, people are never going to be interested, because you're not teaching them anything. You're not giving any value. We're here to explain how events can be revenue generating. And that's all we're trying to do on here right now. If people want something more after the event, we are more than happy to talk to people.
So I think the last event um, we had 330 something people who registered, which is pretty decent. It wasn't great. Out of that, right after event, we looked on LinkedIn to see how many people viewed the event. And right at that point, it was only like 60 or something like that, right? Which is what we would expect. 4 days later or 3 days later, that number of people who viewed the event again was over 300 something people.
Yep.
And then from that, we gathered the email list that we pulled from the event, and we used SendFox. And so, Ed, you're familiar with SendFox. I think you're the one that actually showed me a little bit about how to use SendFox. You got me hooked onto it. It's a very low cost product that we use, and we sent out emails. So out of 37 people, I think 27 or 28 of those people were from the email push, for the email blast on using SendFox. So we have a spreadsheet, and so about 2/3 of the people came straight from the email, not from the event, which is great to have an event because they're live, they're ready to move right then and there. But it's really, email was the foundation for that. So on a LinkedIn event, there's a couple of different channels, and there's some advantages of having a LinkedIn Live. Now, on online events, you can have a Zoom, which has certain advantages. You could have things like LinkedIn Live, which we're having right now. So I'll tell you a couple of advantages of having a LinkedIn Live, and it's just what we're used to. It's not a right or wrong. We could set things up in a bunch of different ways. But let's take this for example. All of us were 3 speakers, and so we tend to have multiple channels: LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, you name it. and you can have up to 21 channels per person. I don't have those many social media accounts to hook up, or I'm not a premium on all of them, but we're 3 speakers and all of us have 2 or 3 channels each. What that means is right now, we're getting pushed out to at least 8 or 9 channels right now live. And so the audience increases. Another thing that we did was we prepped the meeting in order to get more people to show up for the meeting. And so we send reminders, we send things of value to individuals, we send emails prior, and there's a certain formula to do that. And afterwards, we have a CTA, call to action. And for me, the call to action is just, book some time if you're interested in this. But we did want to put some steps together that kind of broke down what it is for a LinkedIn Live event. But the advantages of a live is it goes out to multiple channels at the same time. It's easily controlled, and then you can communicate live on the chat, and then also you can communicate afterwards. So all the people who registered, you can DM them, you can email them, and then you can go back on the chat with them. So there's a multiple channels that happen on a LinkedIn Live that's very useful. But the thing is, you have to present and push out information that's going to be helpful to those individuals, because you put junk in, you get junk out. And so if you have any kind of volume, you want the good kind of volume. So these are the basic steps. Again, feel free to schedule. If you have a phone, you can go ahead and snag that. Just click on the booking link, very simple form, and schedule some time. What we'll do is we'll give you a document on the step-by-step procedures of how to set up your own LinkedIn Live event to be profitable. And we'll go through the whole thing. There's no charge. I also would like to know a little bit about your business, and it's a little meet and greet as well. But for the basic steps for LinkedIn Live events, for the purposes of this, you really want to sell transformation. And it's not really about all the details. So I'm a detailed person. Tammy has to pull me back. So it's not about the details. It's about transforming your life. So how many people have an offer, like a high value offer or a B2B service? Type in 1 if you have a business that you're driving revenue towards. And I know we have a 10-second delay, so I'll just say great. A lot of people have businesses. So if you can type in 1, and just so I know that there are people here that could use multiple channels or a single channel that can drive business. And if you have a high value offer, what would it look like if you could sell an additional high value offer once a month on top of what you're doing? And so that is the actual transformation. If I made an extra $30,000 a month on top of what I'm doing now, my life would be a lot better. I don't know, Ed, you're probably rocking it right now, but could you use an extra $30K a month?
Now, that might cause more problems for me than it would benefits.
Well, that sounds like an fancy negative to me, Ed. Sounds like the wrong answer.
I'll try again. Oh, that would be wonderful.
Yes.
You could always give it away.
Yeah, but then I'd have people that would feel left out. Like, how come you didn't give me some? Like, oh man, an extra 30 grand.
That would be a tough problem to have, Ed.
30,000 headaches.
An extra 30K a month. Most people are going to find some uses for it. And if they give it away, you know what? Just try and be fair about it.
Yeah, definitely. But the point is that a lot of B2B and service-based business, because sometimes coaches are not necessarily B2B, but they're still service-based. They have a high value offer and they call it a high ticket offer, and they have a high value relationship. So if you had a high value relationship, you have that high ticket offer. And even if you convert a few or don't, you could upscale or downscale the services needed. The thing is that you're solving a pain. For us, it's the pain of actually generating money for that individual, as long as you have a service that can convert. And so, a couple of bullet points, I'll go through it really quickly. And this is the time, if you have any questions, feel free to ask a couple of questions, and we'll stick around for a Q&A at the end. But again, you want to sell that transformation. The whole conversation last 5 minutes is really about that transformation, not about all the details. The others are a few general details. You probably want to have enough time to ramp up the registrations. Unless you're doing a weekly and you have a guest speaker and you're just doing it and not worrying about the registration, usually you need about 4 weeks. 4 weeks give you enough time to get enough people in the event to make it worthwhile. Because at the end of the day, you're in business and you're here to convert. The other thing is that use systems. Some of these systems can target LinkedIn groups. That's a very simple way of doing it. If you're involved or you're connected to a LinkedIn group that has some similar needs or genres of what you're doing, you can create and you can actually send campaigns saying, "Hey, I have an event that's about A, B, and C. Is it worth? If it's worth it, they'll click it. They'll take a look at it. If it's worth it, they'll say thank you and they'll register. If not, they'll just move on. Very very a low bar activity, which is really nice to have sometimes. Um, Partners and prospects. Well, Ed and Tammy are not a prospect; they're partners. So having them on the event is really helpful because I'm sharing their audience as well, and so we're combining audiences, we're combining expertise. Um, you know, all the guest speakers have connected to a couple of their streaming channels. We all have them, and so we all have at least 2 to 3 streaming channels, and that helps on the output. Um, One key thing that people forget, and it's an advantage of a LinkedIn Live, is that anyone that registers can invite 1,000 people. And people, it's a hidden feature. They can go there and hit invite, and they can hit a filter. You have to hit a filter so it allows the check all box. And you can scroll down. It takes about 5 to 7 minutes, but you can literally invite 1,000 people a week off your network. Now, we did that. I don't know, Ed, if you had time to do it, but I did it. Tammy did it. Um, and the conversion rate's low, but the volume is so high that it makes a big difference. Can you imagine if 10% of the registrations actually did that? It would go through the roof. Matter of fact, a few years ago, we ran a test and ran a campaign, and we're giving away things if they just supported us by doing that way. And we had thousands. Ed, I think you were on that meeting together. We had thousands of registrations at that one meeting, and it's because those people were guests were actually inviting other people in bulk. Um, Another thing is your LinkedIn direct message campaigns. If you have a lot of first level people that may be interested in what you are going to present, you can send automated campaigns for that. Of course, there's email as well. You can roll from LinkedIn to email as well. So a lot of the systems nowadays will have the email of the person you're connected with, and you can send them a direct email to do that. And my favorite is using SendFox as an email blast. So what we've done is I had Tammy scrub the list for all the registrations, and then I have a number of meetings I have per week, and I put all those into my email list together, and then we sent out about 4 different emails out, before this campaign to increase it. So not only the people who registered will get these emails, my whole active network of people on my my email blast list that have opt-in will get it as well. The other thing is providing a call to action, and I suggest 1 or 2. We're just doing 1. If this is something that will help convert, if an extra 10, 20, $30,000 a month would be helpful and you have a high value offer, a free meeting would probably not hurt you at all, so.
To answer a couple of questions that came in, how do you make people interested in these events? That Rahul asked that. And that's exactly what Troy kind of just went over. You post, you send out to your network. LinkedIn will let you send out to 1,000 people a week. It gets people interested, but you got to do some of the other stuff too. Using other people's audiences, posting in groups, etc.
And I would also
Nancy,
add again, instead of thinking about creating a presentation, you want to create a solution to their
right?
pain. That's it. You want to present transformation. That's the whole thing. That's what everyone wants. Everyone wants transformation. They're at point A, and you are there to bring them to point B. Whether you're doing IT work for a project, whether you are a coach for a different kind of transformation, whether you are a business coach to convert to organize salespeople, which Tammy does, you have to push out transformation. If you can push out that idea of transformation, it hits a lot deeper, and people say, you know what? I know this person for a while. I've been following Raul for a while. I've been following Troy or Ed for a while. And I'm having, I don't know, email deliverability issues, and I don't know what the heck to do about it. And over the last 6 or 8 months, email has changed.
Yeah.
Ed, I mean, you can speak on that. It has changed quite a bit because where you had a lot of stuff that was going in an inbox, I think a lot of it goes into a black hole now. I don't know. What's your thoughts on that, Ed?
Yeah, a lot of it is going to promotional inbox. A lot of emails are going into spam, and it is becoming harder and harder to get emails delivered. I did have one quick question for you, though, Troy, because I think we were kidding around a little bit about an extra $10,000, $30,000 a month. Like, who wouldn't want an extra $20,000, $30,000 a month? But I'm wondering, A, how many people here think that that is a big number, maybe an unobtainable number? And I think it's important to emphasize that it is a big number, but it's certainly a realistic number to achieve.
Oh, yeah. And it's realistic for a number of reasons. It's easier to sell a $10,000 deal or a $20,000 deal than a $2,000 deal. People say, what? That sounds crazy. But have you ever had $1,000 a month client, and then 7 days of starting with them, they want to convert that $1,000 into $1 million? Well, that is ridiculous, because people that are used to transformation are used to paying. And when people pay, they pay attention. So $1,000 client is not going to pay attention. A $10,000 client will. And so paying attention leads to execution. And so although you may have a done for you service, there's certain things that the brand or that individual will have to do to sell. So it does make sense, because if you have an offer, say it's 10 grand, I'm just using, even numbers. If you have an offer that's $10,000 and it transforms their life with the value of $100,000 over a course of time, it makes economical sense. And the person who's going to spend $10,000 knows that. That is the type of customer that knows that you can convert them and bring them to the next level. If not, they would, those people would not exist. I'm sorry. Does that make sense, Tammy and Ed? I don't know if you agree with
It
me or
totally
not.
makes sense, because it is if the product is right for the right person, it doesn't really matter what it costs. Yes, budgets are important, but if you know that you need something, you're going to do anything you can to get the money together to get that thing, because it's going to pay off 5 times, 10 times over down the line. The other
Yeah.
issue is, if something is priced too cheaply, what's it really worth? I mean, if someone is promising you the moon and the stars and they're going to charge you $200 for it, what are you going to get? Are you going to get a cardboard cutout? I mean, people have to know that you're going to provide value as well.
I definitely agree. I know we have some other questions here.
Yep.
So what are you considering high ticket? Well, that's a great question. I consider high ticket minimum of $1,000 a month.
And pretty
Uh,
much in the industry, high ticket is 5,000 and up.
yeah, yeah. Well, if you have 1,000 a month, if you're looking at lifetime value, it's usually over 5,000. So
Right.
maybe I should have redid it.
Yeah.
We have a high value offers around 12K, and ours is a one time type cost for some of our programs. I do things a little bit differently because I want to teach and hand this over to their team. If they don't have team, we want to provide teams and things like that. So yeah, that's what a high ticket offer. Raul had another question. Um, what can I do to build credibility in my events so that people will not hesitate to join? I think for me, the most challenging would be making someone join my event since I haven't started one yet. Well, you know what? That's an actual illusion, um, because oh, I'm figuring out how to use the software. That's an illusion, Raul, because the this is the thing. When you first did something like your first website, were you like the best at it? You're like, were you like the top 1% the first time you built your first website, Raul? No, you probably kind of sucked. To be honest with you, right? You probably had some good ideas and you thought it was good. And, because I was a developer and a designer back in the day, and I thought I was really good at support, and I was pretty good. But then I saw something that blew my mind. It was back in the day. They had something called Habbo Hotel. It's not important what it is, but it was a game thing. It was a 3D multi-user world, right? And it was the early days of we can do that on the. I couldn't figure out how they did it. Had no clue. Well, because I didn't do it before. So the best thing you can do is start. Start with value. How do you have that transformation? How can you present that transformation, and how can they get to know you as a person? You notice at the beginning of the event, I told you a few things. I said I'm a single father. I was in the army, and someone said happy birthday 250, and then they explain it. The army is, oh, I get it, I'm a little slow, right? Thank you very much for that, by the way. I was a developer and I was a designer. All those things get people to know you. And so at the beginning of the event, you do want to present yourself as a human, to be relatable. And the second thing is, again, transformation. How can you present information in a way where they envision that transformation? By doing that and showing them basic steps, it helps out a lot. If you do the things that I did wrong in the past, is get into all the details, you'll lose them. Because Raul, you're the expert in your own field, and they're at third grade level. They're not slow. They're just not experts in the area that you are an expert in. And so you can't really talk about all the little details because they're not going to be able to follow that, and they'll just get distracted. Even this presentation, you see how simple it is. I had to get rid of slides. I was going to say sponsored by Scoop because, I'm the inventor of Scoop. And I said, just take it out because it's not going to really help, this presentation. So remove the distractions, and add the transformation and the human part. What is the nope? He wrote on the nope on the bottom, but maybe it was one of the questions I had. So Tammy, I'll let you take over on the sales portion of this, and Ed, feel free to chime in for our last few minutes, and then after that, we'll have some Q&A.
Well, basically, everything that's come up here today, if you guys want to hear anything more about it, book a call. we're giving stuff away. We're going to give you a whole how to do this. We'll talk you through it. We'll answer questions. We're not asking you to book a sales call. We're asking you to have a conversation and see if it's something that's going to move things forward for you in your business. We only work with people that we can help. We don't ever do, just come in and buy, because that's just ridiculous. Nobody wants that anymore, and you'll just refund it. So all we want to do is see if we can provide a transformation for you in your business. And we're bribing you to have that conversation by saying we're going to give you a guide. And one of the things that I'm offering also is the ability to get a complete audit of your LinkedIn profile for free. Because if your LinkedIn profile isn't doing what it's supposed to do, you're leaving money on the table.
That's a very good point. Your LinkedIn profile is the first thing they do before they decide to have
Yep, they look at
a
that. There's your
conversation with you.
credibility and your authority.
Half the people who you send an invite to will look at your profile before they connect. And when they look at your profile, are those people looking at your profile, are they aligned? Are they in your ICP, your ideal client profile? Are you solving a problem that can be fixed for them? Yeah. So as far as everyone else is concerned, can we see how having a LinkedIn event can convert into business? And if you have any additional questions, feel free. It's one of the most powerful things. So let's run the math on this. The last event we had 330 people. We sent emails prior. We sent emails after. There's a lot of opportunities for having conversations. We put it on a spreadsheet. Matter of fact, I could bring the spreadsheet up, but there was 37 people interested. Out of that, you know what I'm shooting for? I'm shooting for one client to make my entire month. And this is only one of the channels. There's lots of other channels as well. There's LinkedIn outreach. There's your content creation. There's all those supporting mechanisms that are important. And if you want to talk about that, we can. We have a guide for that as well. But usually, most people that are successful, they tend to have about three different channels going on. Sometimes four. And a lot of people say, well, it's a little overwhelming because they can't do it. Well, who said that you had to do it? You don't have to do all the work. Tammy, talk about getting support and help in general. We're not going to talk about events, but we can talk about who would run the event for them, who would take the calls for the sales and things like that. Because a lot of people look at this and say, well, I don't know how I can get it done. And what I'm saying is that, well, people are out there creating this for you, managing it for you. But at the end of the day, a lot of people want to run their business and they don't want to be involved in all the little details that have the event. They just want to show up at the event and talk about it. How would you handle that, Tammy?
It's not difficult. It's just like the three of us on this event. What you can do is you can hire someone. I mean, there's always people out there that will help you, but you're better off reaching out to people that have a similar kind of skill set, but a little bit different than what you have. Invite them to partner with you. That's just what Troy and I ended up doing. And then figure out what they can do. Can they invite people? Can they run an event? Can they set up the live stream? Can they do email? What do they bring to the table? You combine. And
Yeah,
then
I think most people really need at this level 2-3 things. Good partners in general.
Yeah.
Okay. And you talked about that. A good VA or set of VAs.
Oh, yeah.
And then I think a lack of closers on their deal.
Oh, well, closing is something that every business should have, whether they have an event or not.
Oh,
I
you'd be
mean,
surprised how many people don't have them, though.
well, that you should, because you are too close to your business most of the time to close effectively. Generally, hiring a professional closer is going to increase your close sales and your bottom line by anywhere from 10 to 50%, depending on where you're at in closing sales. That's something, if anybody wants to reach out, book a call with Troy, I'll be on those calls. And I have a whole network of closers that we can bring in that work on commission. So it
And
just depends on what you have.
let's talk about VAs as well.
Mm-hmm.
And again, if you want, this is the booking link. Put your phone up and just scan it, and then feel free to schedule some time. I'll leave this up there. But let's talk about VAs. So a lot of people think VAs just do stuff, but if you work with a team like us, for example, that will create the SOPs for your VAs. We'll run introductions to VAs. We'll introductions to commission only closers. Those are things outside that you can build out your team. And then what are VAs good for? Well, different VAs are good for different stuff, but content creation is a big part of it. Managing an online event like this is a big part of it. All the mechanics to drive those people are a big part of it. And a lot of this is instructional. SOP, a service operating procedure, a quick document that's created to show them the step-by-steps could be presented and provided to that VA, and they can run the event for you. It's not very hard. It's just about doing it right.
No question about that. And SOPs are incredibly important because human beings don't just know. Rahul, it's kind of what you said. I've done an event before. Well, if a VA's never run an event before, if you have a document telling them exactly what they need to do to make it work, they'll be able to do it. But if you don't, it'll be a disaster.
Yeah. and this is the thing about disasters. Once you do make a mistake, people are very forgiving.
Yeah.
You just do better next time. So if you have a team like us that does it for you for the first time and then creates an SOP and walks you through it, you get your hands in the cookie jar and you get what's happening. And then you translate that and you take it over. Because one thing businesses want, they want to reduce their cost. So they don't want to pay, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 monthly. They rather pay a certain amount to get those skills and then get their people to run it afterwards. So they have a nice, well-oiled machine at a very low cost. I think there's another question here. What things do you need to keep in mind while doing email outreach for IT business? That's really an Ed question. If someone is doing outreach for an IT business, talk about it from an email perspective first, Ed, and then
Are we
I'll
talking
touch on
about
that.
cold email, or are we talking about opt-in email? If you're talking about cold email, you have to realize you're working with relatively small conversion numbers, so you have to have a decent sized list. You need to try to find out if they have an interest at all in what you're selling. And what I would do, and what I always recommend my clients do, is we first reach out to them on LinkedIn, and if you can, connect with them on LinkedIn. At the very least, engage with their content. When you're sending an email, you want the other person to know who you are. Otherwise, you just want as many emails that's coming in, and they'll probably ignore it or maybe open it, say, I don't know this person, and close it, and possibly mark your email as spam. So if there's one big thing that you can do to ensure that your emails get open and read, is get on the radar by engaging them first on LinkedIn.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
It is.
And let's talk about channel and cold email gets a low delivery, but I know that depending on how you set up your email blast, an email blast is not just warm, but it's opt-in. So there's cold, warm, and then there's opt-in, which is a type of warmed email. But if they're opt-in, they already know you. So if you're sending emails to people that know you, the percentages of the open rate goes a lot higher. Now, if you send a lot of them, they end up dropping a little bit, but all my open rates for my email blast are 40 to 60% open rate. Now, the click-through rate's a lot lower. It's between 1% and 3%. And that's why you need a little bit of volume on that. So you need to set up an opt-in list for people that actually want to get, information from you. And then they also have to have a benefit. So when you're targeting, and like Ed said, if you're targeting a cold email list or any kind of list, you want to target them and not everyone. And you don't want to throw everything in the kitchen sink in there. You want to be very specific that this type of person really needs your help versus making a shotgun blast and hoping something will stick on there. Other channels, like Ed mentioned, content creation. I create between 3 and 5 pieces of content. A lot of it's story driven. And I tend to get between 200 views to 70,000 views per post, right? And most of them end up closer to about 1,000 views per post. And I had a meeting with someone that had a third size of my network, and she's getting 20,000 views per post. So it really, the numbers don't always matter. The conversions do. So you get a lot of likes and a lot of views, and it doesn't convert. So what you need to do is when you provide content, have a story driven and provide some value. What's value? Let's talk about value. Well, it's not what's valuable to us, it's what's valuable to them. Sometimes it's making them laugh. Sometimes it's answering a question. Sometimes it's making them think. Sometimes it's seeing that you are like them. People like to work with people like them. So if they see that, oh, he's a family man, I'm a family man. Oh, he's doing certain things. Oh, I get him. If they can get you, then the conversions are a lot easier. Now, the numbers don't make much of a difference because even having an event like this and it only has X amount of people on it, you still get good conversions. As I mentioned before, it's not all about the live. It's about the replay. It's about the emails. It's about all those things together. It's about solving that problem, and then also providing that transformation. Raul said, "Thank you, Ed." Not to me, but to Ed.
You're welcome.
We're hitting that. We're in the FAQ section, so we'll hang out for another minute. I don't know if you guys have any last minute words or anything like that, but this right here is the QR code. Feel free to schedule some time. There is no sale. We'll give you a guide. We'll walk you through on how to create an event. If you want to ask about other channels, then we're fine with that as well. We have different guides for different things, but by far, LinkedIn events and an online event, and for us as a LinkedIn Live, convert pretty well. Even if it doesn't convert 1 month, and if it converts the second month, you're in a much better position. So think about how to move your $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 business and doubling that. Think about that. What is the value of that? Then that's why I'm asking you to potentially schedule a meeting if it makes sense to you. Tammy and Ed, any last words?
I would just say that don't be afraid to ask for help. This is a really solid strategy. It's easy to look at the big picture of this and figure, well, I can figure this out. I can do it myself. Ask for help. Get out your phone, point it towards the QR code, turn on your camera, push the bit.ly link, schedule the appointment. It's a lot easier if you get help. There's a lot of little details to this process that if you don't get right, the whole thing collapses. So you want to work with somebody that has experience doing this stuff. And I've worked with Troy for 7 years, maybe 8 years, and he understands how to put on a really good event. He's been doing it for a long time. I'm kind of jealous of the numbers that he's able to get. I would certainly reach out to him and pick his brain at the very least. And if not, if you have the money to work with him.
Thank you, Ed. Ed is a great hype man. I tell you, I like Ed a
It's the
lot.
truth. It's the truth.
Well, I'll say this: if you are networking in your business, um, I'll give you a little secret. I have over 30,000 connections. So if you're networking and you need some advice, or you're thinking about partnering, yeah, it might make sense for you to schedule some time. I'm always here to support where I can. And at the end of the day, you've met someone new, and then you never know who knows what, because most business does not happen in a straight line. We talked last time how Tammy and I met. We met through another individual, through my system. So my system reached out to that individual, and that individual said, "You should talk to Tammy." That's pure networking. That's system on top of networking. I'll tell you a story about our SaaS product, Scoop. We used our system to get some initial traction, and that system reached to one person that said, "Hey, I'm a reseller. Let me just buy your software. By the way, I know this other guy that's a bigger reseller." So 3 months later, he introduced me to that. So it was a system talking to the person, me talking to the person, him networking me to another person, and he bought maybe $300 of licenses. He says, "Hey, I know another guy that's a bigger reseller." And if I didn't know person one, I would have known person two, and I wouldn't have known person three. Now I am on the fourth person, which is he has a whole community, and he's going to drive business in a certain way. And then from knowing him, it allowed me to have some push in some other areas to help some of the things out that we're doing for business. So business is never a straight line. It's about supporting and helping each other and figuring out what works for everyone.
Hey, you don't have your calendar open enough. People are trying to schedule and they're saying they can't get one there, Troy.
They can't get one?
Yeah.
Try next week. Let me see here. Maybe a technical issues happened. I'm going to go through it right now.
Seriously, with the idea of reaching out, all people are going to do is say no. But if they say yes, you never know what wonderful things are going to happen. And even if someone says no, ask them if they know anybody else you can talk to. Networking is the very best, the cheapest, and the most effective way to build a business. You need other avenues along with it, but it's a base for meeting the people that are going to elevate you and without a doubt help your business grow.
Yeah. I'll say this much. I just pushed on the thing, and I'm able to get some time on it. So when you click on the link on the QR code through your phone, just make sure you click on the little link that it shows, and then it'll show you sometimes available. And then by doing that, you can select a number of times this week and next week. So maybe people are just don't know what's going on with that. Ed, you want to give it a try real quick?
Yeah, I'm doing that right now. I suggested the people do it, so I should do it.
Yeah, I was working.
Yeah, I'm in there. I'm on.
Okay.
It looks like it's asking me for next week.
Oh, people are booking. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are booking probably as we're talking.
Indeed, they are.
Good.
Yeah, we want to talk to people.
Yeah.
Yeah, do it now. Otherwise, Troy's calendar is getting filled by the second.
Yeah, that's probably.
Claudia, if you can't get an appointment, just go on my profile or on Troy's profile and send a DM, and we'll fix you up.
Yeah, and I'll put this link directly on the notes of the event on the comments right after we drop off. Matter of fact, we probably should drop off now. I want to really thank Ed and Tammy. Thank you both for joining and supporting. Ed's always good to bring a little humor out because I'm dry as toast. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And thank you everyone for the questions. And so Claudia's having issues. So what I'll do is I'll reach out to Claudia. Claudia, send me a connection invite, and I'll accept it right after the meeting. And I'll send you a direct DM for a different link, and it'll have some different options. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Unless there's anything else, I'll go ahead and drop off.